Hello friends, today we are going to start with this particular problem of isometric, and last time if you have seen it, we had dealt with a tedious problem. So today also we are going to look at a miscellaneous problem where some of the concepts of isometric and some tricks we may have to use. So it's a fine problem. You can see the problem on your screen. So let us try to understand the problem using graphics. I have already copied the problem for understanding. Now let me draw the segments for a better understanding. So that is how our problem is divided into multiple segments. There is no hard and fast rule to divide anything into number of segments. It's depending upon our understanding. We can look at these segments as the guidance one. So let me name these segments now. So as you can see, I have named those segments in terms of A, B, C, D and E. Now as we proceed, we will understand how to go about these problems. So segment A, where in top view it can be seen as a C section, in the front view it is seen as a inclined line. So basically it forms this horizontal line as well as this vertical inclined line. So one new principle that we are going to learn in isometric is we cannot plot any angles in isometric directly. Instead we have to convert these inclined lines in terms of the straight edges. So we can draw this isometric. So let us try to understand the outermost box dimension. It is very evident that the total height seen is 40 plus 20, which is 16 total. So total height of the box is 60. As far as the length is concerned, we'll have to figure out certain dimensions. For example, the distance between this particular edge and the center of the hexagonal shape is 80. So we have to figure out this dimension. Also, the maximum width that we can see in the top view is not 50. Instead, it is the length between two end points of the hexagon. So for that I have already figured out a similar hexagon of base size 30. So based on that we can figure out this pending dimension. Let me show it using a stick. This particular dimension as well as the distance between this point and this point. So as we can see, this dimension 60 is the greater dimension between the hexagonal point. Also this 26 is the dimension which we want on this side. So the total length becomes 80 plus 26, which gives me 106. So total length would be 106. Total height would be 60, and total width, as we have seen, is also 60. So as we look at this diagram, the origin actually is located at this point. So there is certain gap between the points. We know that the maximum distance between these 2 points is 60. However, this distance is 50, and hence this left out dimension on either side is 5 mm. So in short, the first line, which is of dimension 50 and which is located at the bottom, starts at a distance 5 mm from the origin. So in that regards, I'll start my first line in this manner. Now it is very evident that this particular surface, if we match its projection, refers to this particular line as well as this particular line, means they fall in the straight line. So if we have to proceed with this, we should know this length. as I have already said that we can't plot inclined lane directly in the isometric, we have converted it in horizontal manner, and vertical dimension is already given 30 millimeter. So what we are supposed to do is, as you can see, I have already figured out that, so if this is the vertical dimension, even horizontal dimension between this point and this point would be 30. So in that case, I will use an approach where I will draw a line equal to 30 millimeter, which will be parallel with this line. You can see I have made the marking, and from that point I'll take a vertical dimension equal to 30 millimeter again. So now the point obtained is this particular point. Let me highlight it. Now I am going to join these 2 points. Like this, and if it is understood very clearly, this point and this point being in the same level, we will draw another line parallel to the bottommost line in this manner. So as we proceed, we have understood that there will be one more line which will be parallel with the earlier inclined line, and same in the left. So this is how we have figured out with this particular line. And the next thing is, we can see the inside lines, which are of course parallel with the outside ones, are at 30 millimeter apart, and this particular line starts somewhere here where the distance is 12 millimeter. So this vertical distance we have to measure in this manner. What I am going to do is, I am going to draw a line parallel with this one, and the distance between these two is equal to 12 millimeter. In such a case, I'll obtain this point, and if I draw a line from that point which will be parallel with the bottommost line, I'll get the locus of this particular edge. One thing is very clear, that if the outermost lines are 50 millimeter away and innermost lines are 30 millimeter away, the small distance again remaining is 10 millimeter, because the difference between them is 20. So the inside difference is merely 10 millimeter on each side. So I will draw 2 lines such that they are 10 millimeter away from the outermost lines, like this, and at the end I will join them. I'll maintain the construction lines. We can see at that end, at this particular end, these lines are connected with each other, and hence I will join those lines with the connecting line. Now thereafter this particular line gets continued, and if we follow the projection, this line is the same as that of this one, and hence it is continued up to the next surface obtained. So for time being, we will just draw the construction lines starting from these points, and of course are parallel with this one. The same line I will draw from this side and parallel with this one. And the same lines will be able to draw this particular line. Let me highlight it using yellow color. This particular line, however, its length is now known, which is given as 20 millimeter. So from there I will draw length equal to 20 millimeter like this and this. No doubt that these two lines are connected thereafter, so we will connect even those two lines. As the principle says, and we can see here in the diagram, there is a presence of hidden line here and here, which means this particular line represents a vertical surface and this line represents a horizontal surface, which is not seen behind this particular trapezium, and hence we need to draw them. So how to draw that? I will start a vertical line starting from this point that will go down, and I will let it match with a line which will be parallel with other lines, and ultimately it will touch this particular line. Now thereafter, let us try to draw this particular topmost hexagonal plane. Now in this, let me get it clear that these two edges, since are parallel with the principal edge, now let me say that this particular edge, this one and this one, means height, length and the width associated with the given problem are my principal lengths. Since these two are parallel with that, we can plot them easily. Otherwise, any inclined line, it is not easy for us to draw them directly, and hence we have converted them in terms of the hexagon. As you can see, we have converted this length as 26 and we have converted this particular length as 15, you can see. So let us draw the topmost surface so as to draw it. Now we know that the maximum distance between these 2 points is 52, and hence I will draw a line, a similar though, parallel with the previous one. Like this, so that the distance between these two is 52. The very first thing that we are able to draw right now is this line of 30 millimeter. A similar parallel line of 30 millimeter on this side. Now based on this calculation, we know that the distance between this 30 line and this point is 26, the horizontal distance of course. So based on that logic, we will draw 2 points such that the distance between those points would be 26. Thereafter, the left out formality is very simple. We'll have to connect these points directly with this with this point with this, and last but not least, this point with this. Now once it is done, we know that not only the top edge but also the bottom edge would be hexagonal in shape. So that is how we can see it in the top view also. So similar shape I have to draw at the bottom. The total height we know is 60. So from every possible corner I will draw a line of height 60. Even from this corner, and then I will join these two. It is possible to draw it from this corner also. Now from this corner we will draw a random line because we may have to erase few of them, and if our projection allows we will draw it from this corner also, but in this particular case it is going behind the solid, so we will not show it. Now the next logic says that this particular edge which we already have drawn goes and meet the surface over here, which means not only in the top but also in the bottom that line goes and meet that particular hexagonal shape, and hence we will draw another line right from this point which will go and meet the inclined surface. It may meet it somewhere here, and then we can see there is a sharp vertical edge which is of height 30 mm. So from there we will draw a sharp vertical edge of height 30 mm to which this particular edge will go and meet. So as we can't see the inner portion, or this is the outermost plane, we will have to erase this particular part like this. And the same lines, it is very evident that this particular part of line covers a plane which is possibly this particular plane. So in that plane there are lines which are parallel with the hexagon, and so for that let us try to draw those lines starting from this point. Now one feature is that these lines are parallel with the lines of hexagon. So there emerges another line starting from this point and which is parallel with the hexagon. This particular line continues up to this, and this line of hexagon will pass so as to meet the counterpoint of this particular on that side, but which we can't see, so we have to restrict ourselves to show only this much part. So with that the major portion gets completed. Let me erase this extra segment of the line which is not required. So this is how my solid is going to look like. The last portion that we have to show is the isocircle. Now we know that this particular circle is of diameter 40. So to draw the isocircle, a very small construction work that we have to do is we have to plot its center point first. The center point will be plotted in this manner. Now since its diameter is 40, its radius on either side in all direction is 20, so I am going to make a rhombus of dimension 40 like this. Now thereafter I will use 4-arc circle method for drawing the isocircle, for which I need to consider the obtuse angles. Now let me highlight the obtuse angles which are available with us. This is the obtuse angle along with this particular obtuse angle, right? So for that I will make a small construction work. From this obtuse angle I will join lines somewhere here. From this point here, similarly from this point here, on other side from this point on the opposite, the midpoint of opposite side, and from this point the midpoint of opposite side again. So now let me highlight the important center points, two of which I have already highlighted. You can see here. The next 2 points would be this two and this one. The things thereafter are quite simple. We have to draw the arcs. I'll consider this particular center, will take the radius equal to this and will draw an arc between these 2 points. I'll repeat the procedure considering this as the center and the same length of radius to complete this part of radius. The last thing will be done using these 2 center points Using these two center points, I will try to connect both these end points, and even this center point I'll try to connect these two. So that is how my circle is drawn. The next thing that we have to look at is this particular circular hole is only for the depth of 20. So we have to see that whether this lower part or lower plane, circular plane, is seen or not. And for that we'll make a small trick. And as per that small trick, I'm going to take down this particular center part by 20 millimeter. Even these two centers by 20 millimeter down. I'm going to use their respective curves. For example, for this new center and new center. For this particular center, I'll use radius equal to the maximum dimension of radius. I can see it. I'll use that radius and I will try to draw a small part of circle. If I see that small part of circle will pass somewhat like this, and it is very much evident that if I am using this particular center and taking this small amount of radius, you can see this, if I am taking this small amount of radius and if I try to draw the circular part, it is definitely going behind this particular outermost curve, and that means only the small part of the curve will be visible for us, and that completes our problem. So let us now copy the problem in a proper manner. So requesting all of you to follow this status. The same box I am going to start with. So this is how I have already obtained the box. Now using this particular solution and the given dimension, let us try to solve it. Now as we can see, 50 is the primemost dimension where we had started with. So let us start using 50 dimension. For that I'll make sure that from center I am going on either side by 25 like this. Now since I know that they are going to be thick in nature, I'll make the lines darker. Then as it was stated earlier, I am going inside by 30 millimeter and then above by 30. Next thing I have to do is I have to join these 2 points, and I will draw another line of 50 millimeter dimension, and to which I'll join this particular point. So as we can say, we have obtained these 3 lines for us. Small segment only we have to retain of this line. As you can see in the diagram, we know that this distance is 50 minus 30 divided by 2, which is 10 on either side, and for that I will draw a line which is at a distance of 10 millimeter from this line. So as you can see, I have drawn these 2 lines. So it's 10 millimeter apart. Even these 2 lines are 10 millimeter apart. The next approach says that there is a line which starts, which is this one, which starts at 12 millimeter height. So for that we have to go inside by 12 millimeter, and then we will project that same distance on that inclined line. Of course this all is construction line, and hence we have applied the proper line type. Now from this point I'll project this distance on this inclined line, and to which I'll continue up to the next line. So that is how I have obtained this particular line. So the extra part I will remove and I will assign proper line thickness. So now this part which does not exist, we can see there is no line in between these 2 small segments. So we will just delete them. Now thereafter we can see these lines are emerging, of which these line segments we know the complete length, which is 20 millimeter as given. So we will draw those lines. So this will go indefinitely. So it's a random distance that I'm projecting. Similarly, I'll continue this line the same direction randomly, of course, but this line I know certainly is of 20, and hence this line also certainly is of 20. This will also go indefinitely inside. And thereafter we know that there is a line that connects these two particular points. We can see this line. Let us extend this particular line inside so that it will meet the vertical projection from this point, and at the end the projection or the common point can be brought in this direction like this. So the extra part will remove, or I will keep it as the construction line, and I can make these lines thicker one now. That completes my inner portion. Now when I go for the upper portion, I have to draw this hexagon, and for that I'll start from this point where I have to draw a line of 30 mm first on either sides. The distance between them, as we have already seen this in 2D, comes out to be 52. So we'll start with half of it, or we will start with 30 mm line. So on either side it goes on 50. So even on this side it will go by 15. There will be another line of 30 mm length which we have to draw parallel to the earlier line at a distance of 52. The next thing that we are going to mark is the point of 26. That we can see like this. Let us extend these ends to the end line like this, and now we know that we are going to connect these points with this in a continuous manner. And this is how your topmost hexagon is completed. Let us make these lines thick. Now we know that the edges of hexagon we have to take down by 60. So each and every edge we will take down by a distance of 60. Even from this side, and this side also 60. Now we know that hexagonal side of this kind will have a parallel companion on this side. So we'll draw it between these 2 points, then this third one, and there has to be ideally a connection between these two. But as it is discussed that this bottommost line goes and makes some relationship with this inclined line, so in the same manner we have got that relation, and the extra part we are going to delete. And then we will make the required line as the dark one, even this one, this. Now we again know that there emerges a vertical line from the point where it touches the bottom. So there we can draw a line of height 30 mm which exactly connects with this point, and let us make the required lines thick. The next thing is, there will exist a parallel line segment, and we will draw it from this point. So where we get the idea up to which this particular line comes and meet the lowermost part. So this additional part we'll have to delete, and then it is obvious that a line parallel to this segment will be originating from this side to meet this particular line segment. So let us quickly draw it, and that is how the line segments are drawn. Now let us apply the thickness to these lines so that they will be seen properly. This line segment will be restricted only up to this line because the rest of the portion is not seen, and hence it will be kept hidden. So let us apply the projection layer or the construction layer wherever is applicable. So like you can see, all these parts which are required to take projection of, but are not actually seen, I made them projection in manner. This extra part I have deleted, and this part will be deleted. The last part left out is only about this particular circle. Now we are going to draw the isocircle, and for that we need to create a square which will be seen as a rhombus. Of course the dimension is 40 millimeter. So let us quickly prepare it. So as it is seen that I have formed a rhombus, let me apply the property so that it can be seen properly. You can see the dimension of the rhombus which is formed, of which now I am going to use the obtuse angles to make the further construction. For which I am supposed to draw the line from the obtuse angle up to the center point of the opposite line. I'll draw two such lines. Similarly, from this obtuse angle up to the next center point. And the points obtained and important points, let me highlight. So that is how I have highlighted 4 important points. So using this particular point and considering this as the radius, I am going to start to draw an arc from this point. Of course this is the center. I'll draw it up to this point. So that is how my first arc is obtained. I'll repeat the procedure for another obtuse center. I have to, in this case, start the arc from this point. The distance of radius I have to take up to this. Similarly, the next curve starting from this point ending at this radius. So I will draw only this much part of the curve, remaining part I will remove. So that is how another part of curve will be obtained. Now I will use another circle part, and this small part of curve I am going to draw on either sides. The extra part I am going to remove. Like you can see. So this is the fine curve, fine isocircle obtained. So let me make it thick. This part will be shown thick by 20 millimeter. You can see along with that these two circles are also copied. Now I will take the radius equal to this, and from this point I am trying to draw the curve. That is how the curve I will try to draw, and as you can see that curve has fit inside this particular part very correctly. But if I am trying to draw another part of curve like this with respect to this center point, it will probably miss this spot and it may go outside, and hence this particular center points are of no use as far as drawing the innermost curve is concerned. So this part will be removed, and that is how our problem gets completed. There is this suggestion for students that we need not erase any of the construction lines, but draw them very light faint so that they will not intersect with your original diagram. So no other dimension is required except the angles of the basic most iso lines or principal iso lines. So that completes our problem. With this problem, it is essential to draw these 2D diagrams, because with respect to that only we will get the conclusion about this particular lines and projections. Even it is essential to draw this hexagon with the dimensions, because with that help only we could draw this particular topmost plane. So there we end with this problem. I hope it was clear to you. Though the problem is lengthy, the tricks used are very much useful, and I hope that the students will be benefited by this. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have liked this video, please subscribe to this channel so that you will come across new videos where you will be able to learn few more tricks. Thank you so much.